Shalom Yeladim. We're going to do Parshat now. Parshat HaShavua, Parshat HaShavua, Vayakel Pekudei. Parshat HaShavua, Parshat HaShavua, Vayakel Pekudei. So yesterday we did a lesson on Vayakel, and today we're going to learn about Pekudei, because this week we read 2 Parshiot. The reason is because we want to finish all the Parshiot before the end of the year. So some years we have to double up some of the Parshiot. Often Vayakel and Pekudei are put together. So yesterday we talked all about how Vayakel, we learned about the building of the Mishkan, and when they build, anything they do when they build the Mishkan are things that we're not allowed to do on Shabbat. So now we're going to learn about Pekudei. In the middle of the month of Tishrei, Bezalel, remember we learned about him last year, and Oholiav, and all the people who were helping them began building the Mishkan and all the things that would go inside of it. They finished the work in 70 days on the 25th day of Kislev. Can anyone remember? What was Chaf Hey Kislev? It was Hanukkah. On this day, many years in the future, the Chashmonaim would win their battle against the Yevanim, and the miracle of Hanukkah would take place. Now the workers brought all the parts of the Mishkan and all the things that would go into it to Moshe, and Moshe showed the whole nation what had been made from the materials they gave. Bnei Yisrael were so happy that such beautiful things had been made from their gifts. Right away, they tried to put the parts together and set up the Mishkan, but they couldn't do it. The parts were very heavy, and even many people together could hardly lift them. And then, even after they raised 2 different parts, they could not connect them. The Jews tried over and over to put all of the parts together, but they just couldn't set up the Mishkan. They called the craftsmen who had built it, and they said, "Please set up the Mishkan for us. We can't wait here. We can't wait for it to be ready, so Hashem Shekhinah will rest there." The craftsmen also tried to connect the different parts, but they couldn't do it either. What did they do? They went to Bezalel and Oholiav, and they said, "You built the Mishkan. You must be able to set it up." But when Bezalel and Oholiav tried to put the parts in place, they fell right down. The children of Israel were so surprised, all of Bnei Israel. Maybe we didn't build it right, they thought. Finally, they all went to Moshe. "We followed your instructions so carefully," they told him, "but now that we've built the entire Mishkan, we can't put it together. Look at all the pieces. Did we do something wrong?" Can you imagine how they felt, Yeladim, if you tried to do everything that Mower told you to do for your work, but it still didn't work out? You'd get so frustrated and feel sad. The people showed each part of the Mishkan to Moshe, and Moshe looked at each part and said, "Yes, this is how you should make it. This is how Hashem commanded you to make it." "Then why can't we set it up?" asked Bnei Israel. "We tried, the craftsmen tried, and Bezalel and Oholiav tried. No one, Moshe, can do it." Moshe felt very bad about this. The people had waited so long for the Mishkan to be ready. They had given their riches and given many months of their time to make the Mishkan and all that goes in it. And now they were not able to set it up. Hashem saw that Moshe was feeling bad, and he said to him, "Moshe, my faithful servant, Bnei Israel didn't do anything wrong. There is a different reason the Mishkan is not going up. I saw that you were sad not to have a part in building this holy house. The people gave gifts, Bezalel and Oholiav, and the rest of the artists did the work, but you had no part in it. So I made it to happen that the Mishkan would not come together until you came to set it up. I did this all for you, and I wanted to push off the setting up of the Mishkan until the month of Nisan, which is when Yitzchak was born." "Hashem," cried Moshe, "how can I set up the Mishkan all by myself?" "Just try it," Hashem calmed him, "and I will help you. The moment you touch the parts, they will come together by themselves." Remember, Yeladim Hanukkah, we talked about how special the menorah was. and how Hashem had helped Moshe make the menorah also. And so it was, on the 23rd of Adar, Moshe began to put the Mishkan together. As he put the parts in place, Bnei Israel saw incredible miracles. But before he even set up the Mishkan, Moshe spread out beautiful tapestries that would cover it. He left them hanging in the air, high up, and that's like special fabrics. And they stayed suspended there without falling as he set up the sides underneath. Then, when the Mishkan was all ready, Moshe lowered the covers a bit, and they fit right in place. Moshe was able to lift each part by himself. The sideboards were very heavy, and usually it took many men to move them. But Moshe was a man of great strength. When Moshe finally finished setting up the Mishkan, the people were so happy. It had been 6 months since they started to work. When it stood at last, the site was magnificent with gold, silver, and beautifully embroidered clothing. A special holiness could be felt in the Mishkan and in the courtyard outside. The nation went into the small courtyard area, and another miracle took place. They all fit in and had room to spare. No one felt crowded, even though there were tens and thousands of people. That would be like, let's say we invited the kindergarten, the first grade, the second grade, the third grade, all into our classroom, and everybody fit and nobody felt squished. Nobody said, Mora, I'm feeling squished. And then Moshe blessed the nation and said, may it be Hashem's will that his Shekhinah rest in the Mishkan that you built. For 7 days, Moshe put the Mishkan together and it took it apart. These are called the 7 days of Miluim, which means filling up, because Maleh means to fill, full. During these days, the Kohanim were not yet allowed to offer the Korbanot, and only Moshe could do the service. Every morning, Moshe set up the Mishkan and offered the Korbanot for that day. Then towards night, he took the Mishkan apart again. After 7 days, on the first day of Nisan, Moshe set up the Mishkan for good. You remember from earlier in the lesson who was born in Nisan? You remember? Yitzchak. On that morning, all of Bnei Israel gathered and stood in the courtyard. This day, the first of Nisan, was a very special day for the Jewish people. This was the day the Kohanim began their service in the Mishkan. Moshe gave Korbanot and then called Aaron the Kohen Gadol and his sons the Kohanim. Moshe told them all the commandments of offering the Korbanot, and Aaron did exactly as he was told. He came up to the Mizbeach and he brought the offerings, and all his sons did the jobs that they were supposed to. Then Aaron went down from the Mizbeach, raised his arms, and blessed the nation with the bracha of the Kohanim. May Hashem bless you and guard you, and may Hashem light you, his face to you, and may have grace to you. May Hashem give you peace. Now, Yeladim, you say that all the time in your Siddur. If you open your Siddur to page 10, Yivarechecha Hashem v'yishmerecha, Yair Adonai panav elecha, v'yichuneka, Yisa Hashem panav elecha, v'yasem lecha shalom. That is the bracha of the Kohanim. And if you go to Beit HaKnesset on a Chag, you will hear something, bracha the Kohanim. The Kohanim still say that bracha to Bnei Israel. And all the people answered, after they heard it, what do you think they answered? Amen. Then Moshe and Aaron went into the Mishkan to pray to Hashem to send a fire down from the heaven to burn up the sacrifices. This miracle would be a sign that Hashem wanted their offering. They finished their prayer, went out of the Mishkan, blessed the nation again, and suddenly a fire from heaven shot down, orange, yellow, and brown, and onto the altar it landed to burn the sacrifice Hashem had commanded. The Jews saw the miracle well, and down on their knees they fell to praise Hashem who had come from above to accept what they offered with much, much love. The fire shot down in a pillar and stood above the Mizbeach. Then it stretched out like a lion and never went out from then on. No matter how much wind or rain there was, the fire kept burning and consuming the offerings that the Kohen brought. What happened when Bnei Yisrael traveled from place to place and took the Mishkan apart? They covered up the Mizbeach, put the fire, but the fire kept on burning on red hot coals underneath. Then, when Bnei Yisrael camped in a new place, they took the cover off the coals, and what was there? The fire. When the Jews saw the fire shooting down from heaven and burning up the korbanot, they all bent to the ground. Then another miracle happened. Each person had room to bow low and spread out, as if the courtyard of the Mishkan had suddenly doubled in size. Because when a person bows down, they take up more room, but yet there was enough room for everybody. Bnei Yisrael sang songs to Hashem, happy that he chose to come into the house that they built. And we're going to learn in Pesach that at the end of the Seder, we have Hallel also, where we sing songs to thank Hashem for taking us out of Mitzrayim. When Bnei Yisrael were in the Midbar, and it was time to travel from place to place, a cloud would come over and cover the Mishkan. This cloud was a signal to pack up and go, or to stop marching and set up camp. We're going, we're going, we're going, the people would call as soon as they saw the cloud stop over. And this is a sign for us to travel. And the Shevet Yehuda would be the one that would announce that to everybody. Right away, they would stop whatever they were doing and pack. They would take down their tents and fold them up and tie them up and all their belongings. Whoever had animals would load their things onto the animals. Whoever had wagons would load their things onto the wagons. And what did those people do who had nothing? They would just put their bundles on the cloud, and the cloud would carry all their bundles. As soon as the nation was ready, the trumpets doo-doo-doo-doo would sound, and the Kohanim would blow 2 silver trumpets, Tekiah, Teruah, Tekiah. But the cloud would not move until Moshe called out, "Rise, Hashem, and scatter your enemies. May those who you hate, you run from your face." Then the cloud would begin to go forward, and Bnei Yisrael would follow behind, Shevet b'Shevet. Yehuda, Yisachar, Zevulun, they had a very specific order. After these Shvatim set off, the Kohanim would go into the Mishkan and cover all of the things inside of it. Then the sons of Kahat from the tribe of Levi would bring all of the covered holy objects and carry them on poles that were specially connected to them. And I don't know if you remember from a few weeks ago where we learned those poles, you would hold on to it, but it wouldn't be heavy for them to carry. Hashem would help them carry it so it wouldn't be too heavy. Again, the trumpets would sound, Tekiah, Teruah, Tekiah, and the sons of Gershon and Merari from the tribe of Levi, they would go into the Mishkan. They would take apart the Mishkan and unload the parts onto it. They would set off, and behind them would come the Shvatim of Reuven, Shimon, and Gad. The trumpets would go off a third time, Tekiah, Teruah, Tekiah, and the sounds of Kahat would begin to travel. They would take with them all the things that went in the Mishkan, all the holy objects. After them would come the Shvatim of Ephraim, Menashe, and Binyamin, and after them Dan, Asher, and Naphtali. When the Bnei Yisrael came to a new camping place, they would rest on the tribe of Yehuda like the leaves of a sukkah. Moshe would see this and he would say, "Return, Hashem, the tens of thousands of Bnei Yisrael." Then the cloud would move to the west, and the sons of Gershon and Merari, who carried the parts of the Mishkan, would begin to set it up beneath the cloud. The sons of Kahat would carry in the utensils, and all the tribes would set up their tents according to the order that they traveled in. The order of the camp of Israel was so special that all the other nations envied them. It was amazing to see them traveling and setting up camp in such a beautiful and organized way. Yeladim, it's kind of like when the first graders walk through the hallway and all the other teachers and students go, "Whoa, that's the first grade. Look how nicely they walk, and look how nicely they listen to their mower." It was the same thing. Everybody knew exactly where they were supposed to go. The Parshat of Pekudei is the last Parsha in the book of Shemot. When the reader in Shul finishes this Parsha, the whole congregation will stand up and say, "Chazak, chazak, v'nitchazek." Be strong, and will be strengthened. Well, we won't be in Beit HaKnesset this week, but definitely when you do Parsha with your family, you should also, when you finish and you close your Parsha book and you finished Vayakel and Pekudei, you could say that too, to remind you how every single time that you learn Torah and every single time that you learn another Parsha or another Sefer, you are becoming stronger, a better, stronger, more amazing Jewish child. So proud of all of you. Bye.